Hello friends, welcome you to another episode of Introduction to Microsoft Word. Today we'll be moving to yet another section of our series. Today on the Introduction to Microsoft Word, we'll be talking on shapes and WordArt. We'll be learning how to create, edit shapes, insert shapes, and also WordArt. So without wasting much time, let's jump in. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment on our videos if you have any questions or you want to make some requests. So without wasting much time, let's jump in. So once again, I've created my file and I've saved my file with shapes and WordArt. You can also create your own file too and save it somewhere where you can refer to it some other time. So today we'll be covering these few bulleted points, which is inserting shape, resizing shape, changing color and outline to shapes, grouping and ungrouping shapes. Then we'll be inserting word arts. We'll be checking the similarity of word arts to shapes. And we'll be seeing how we can use text wrapping and other. So let's go on. So to find shape on Microsoft Word, if you remember from our previous class where we explained about our ribbons, today we'll be taking the insert ribbon. Now, just to prepare your mind for some changes that might happen as we are working with our shapes. If you notice, we have our ribbons, right? Now, if you notice, the ribbons are somewhat kind of 8. Let's count: home, insert, design, page layout, reference, mailing, review, view, right? Now, as we will insert any shape, you should be able to notice that there will be an additional ribbon that will come up here. Now, why is that happening? Now, shapes is part of the tools under the insert ribbon, and since the tools, the shapes can be used to create varieties of addition to our documents. In this case, any ribbon that will be added on top here will be part of the ribbons that will be used to make adjustment on our shapes. So let's see if we can bring out one shape. So we'll be trying to come up with some regular basic shape that many of us know of. So I'll be picking 4 shapes. I'll be picking the oval, which many of us know as the circle. I'll be picking the triangle, and I'll be picking, in this case, a rectangle, and lastly I'll be picking a polygon. Let me use a diamond first. Let's just use a diamond. So this is a 4-side polygon. So remember, insert, then shapes. Under shapes we'll find basic shapes that are on Microsoft Word here. Some are default shapes on Microsoft Word here, and we'll be picking one particular shape here added to this list. We'll find out why. If you notice one shape here that has an A inside of it, I'll be picking that one. Let's insert that shape here. Good. So this particular shape is different from other ones, so let me see a little difference. Now if I click on this shape, which is also a 4-sided shape like the other one, you notice the cursor, which naturally appears when we are hovering around the text, is literally appearing when I hover around the shape, but it's not appearing when I hover around this shape. Now why is that? Because this shape here is called a text box. Now what makes it a text box? If we have text, it means this shape can literally accept text as a content. So the shape can literally allow you to type text inside its content. Now, like what I pointed out the last time, we see this part here on top here. Judging by our default ribbons, which are home, insert, design, page layout, reference, mailing, review, and view, we have one added ribbon here, which is format. So this format is helping us know that this particular ribbon that's appearing when we draw a shape, which is drawing to format, is literally a ribbon that will help us do all other adjustments we hope to do on shape, like resizing, changing color, grouping, and ungrouping. So let's see how we can use that. So Let's move to resizing shape. How can we resize shape? Every shape literally has a size. So let me click on one of the shape here. If you look at the right hand side here, we have these two markings, which is mostly indicating the height and the width. Just as an addition, some of you system may not be showing the measurement unit centimeter. Let me just briefly show you how to adjust that. So in case your system is showing a different measurement unit, or if you prefer yours, but for the benefit of those that will want to use a measurement unit that is much more easier, or also for the benefit of this class, you'll be going to file and you'll be seeing your options. Then under options, we'll be going to advanced. Now on this section here, I think you scroll down, down. What you are looking for is units of measurement or measurement unit. The possibility that I've passed it is very high. So let me go back. Yeah, there's it. Share measurement in unit of centimeter. So some of you may by default be on inches. So remember to change that. Like you see, I'm on inches. I'm not really familiar with inches, but I'm really okay with using centimeter because of the fractions it can help us get measurement to. So let's go back and change it back to centimeter. The file, options, advanced, and on this section you scroll the whole thing up. You are looking for measurement units and we'll change it to centimeter. So keep that in mind. So in this particular case, let's see how we can resize the shapes. Now remember, we have a width, we have a height and a width. So let's assume that we'll be giving all the shape the same size in width and height. Let's just pick a common size for both of them. Let's use 2. So I'll click in it, automatically it highlights. I input my new size. I do the same thing in here. Now you see there's already changes because I've adjusted the height. So I'll do the same thing for the width and I'll hit enter. Now I have my new size of 2 height, 2 centimeter width. So let's do that quickly for the rest. 2 for the height and 2 for the width. I hit enter. I'll click on these two. I'll go 2 for the height and I'll go 2 for the width. I'll hit enter. And the last one, I'll go 2 for the height and I'll go 2 for the width and I hit enter. So right now we have similar shapes that are of the same height, of the same width. Now let me just have a little additional shape here. So now I have a square here which basically is identified by the equal sides. What about if it's a rectangle? So let's use something we have used before just for the purpose of this class. Let's go to our home, let's go to our copy, and let's go to our paste. So I have another shape. Why did I do this? Because I want to have a rectangle. So I'll go to my format, and this time I want to adjust the width to say 4 centimeter. Let's make it a little obvious. There we go, 4 centimeters. So now we have a circle, we have a triangle, we have a square, we have a rectangle, we have a diamond. So that is much that we can take on sizes. So remember, your size is changed from the size section, and take note of the symbols up here. This symbol here stands for the height. If you look at the arrow, is pointing up and down, while this is pointing left and right. That is the width and that is the height. So whichever size you add, irrespective of what you want, you can do that. Like here, most of the size we use for, say, business card. Let me do a little trick on duplicating. If you use your right click to grab this shape here and drop it and say copy here, we have a common business card size we use here, and sometimes it really changes, but later on I'll find out the main business card size that we'll use. Now the height for business card sizes. Most of the time it's 5.6, but let's just use 5, and the width is mostly 8. Enter. So business card size are mostly like this, but I'll find out the actual size. I'm not really sure, but I mostly use this one, and it works for me though. So that is about inserting shape and resizing our shape. Now what about changing color and outline? Now every shape has two particular features. It has a container and it has an outline. Let me go closer a little bit. So every shape has a color and an outline. If you notice all of them, my outline has a little darker shade of blue. Let's go as close as possible. So you see I have a darker shade of blue and a lighter shade of blue for the container itself, but the outline a darker shade of blue. So why am I mentioning this? When I'm talking about changing color and outline, since every shape is created by lines, despite the fact that we have lines though, let me get a line here. Let's get a line. So I'll click on the line. Now this time I'll be dragging to the right. I'm holding my shift key so I get a straight line. So you see, despite the fact I'm going up and down, let me release my shift key. So you see the line is dangling with my hand. So I'll go back with my shift key and drag and release. So now I have a line. So despite the fact that shapes are created by lines, a line do having 2 point, the start point and the end point, every shape is created by a line, and over here, so to say, is considered to be created by one line, which means the line goes round. A triangle here is created by 1, 2, and 3 lines. The square, 4 lines. The rectangle, 4 lines. And this particular shape is a diamond, is 4 lines. If we go to complex shapes somehow, let's say like a 5-side polygon or something like this, yeah, it's created by more lines. Let's just give the same size. I like that uniformity. So we have 2 by 2. So despite that, we notice it's created by more lines. If I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 lines created the shape. So all shapes are created by a line. So that means there's an outline and there's a container. The fact that the line starts from the first point and came back, went around, formed the whole shape, and come back to that end point, it creates somewhat a container. Let's prove that. Now let's leave that. Okay, stay there. Good. Now there's one particular shape here that I'm going to try to use. Now you see this shape is called a scribble. I want to try to prove that when we do that. Now let's use this one, which is freeform, and we'll use the scribble later. So let's try this freeform. Now you see I can go wobbly, and if I stop, you see it doesn't allow me, but if I double click, it stops. Now you see this is just me drawing lines. Now what am I trying to prove? What forms the container of this is when this line ends up here. Now let's do that again. Scribble, freeform, sorry. So I'll do the same thing, but this time I will stop exactly where that line starts from. You see, when I stop there, it literally creates a container. That makes it has that 2 features, which is the container and the outline. But this, on the other hand, because I did not close that gap, no container is formed. So that should help you understand that lines, when they meet exactly, when they go back to where they start from, so to say in simple terms, when they end up back where they start from, they create a container. So let's see how we can add color to that 2 feature, which is the container itself and the outline. So remember, the format ribbon is really active. When we click on any shape that we have inserted, the format ribbon is there. The tools we are looking for are actually on the format. So let's start from the circle. Let's go for a shape fill. A shape fill will be adding color to your container. So let me put something lighter for the purpose of the online video, so I don't complicate the view of many of you. So Now you see that? Now I have a different color in the container, which is the fill, and the outline is now visible. You see, I said the outline before is a little blue, so we see the outline is visible. Now let's just randomly, for the purpose of repetition, change the fill color for the rest of the shape that we have added 2 heights width to. And this one we added is a rectangle, so let's pick something. No, I don't want to go on that blue. Yeah, let's just pick that. Let's I sometimes run out of colors. So lastly, I'll be going for red. So now that is the fill. So let's pick an outline that is a little that's different from the fill, so we can get a little obvious change. Let's get in outlines that are different for the fill. I think I'll go for black for this one, and I'll go for something different. I think it's a little different. Now when I do changes, let's leave that there, and let's do this for, let me see. I wish one of you can help me for colors, but now we're standing. Let's do that. Just pick that. I can't pick red. How will I pick red? Red doesn't do the job. Okay, let's go for this. Okay, so that is the outline fill. So remember, this one I cannot add a fill color to it. So you see, literally that worked. That's surprising. I never thought of that. Interesting. It literally worked. So let's continue. So now, what other feature can we do to this? The fact that we have a shape, by default a basic shape, there is one small feature that I'm going to show you. Let me come here, edit shape. Now look at this, change shape size. Some people may not find it handy, but on some occasion you find it very, very handy. So let's change it to a different shape entirely. Let's say something like this. So come to realize that you can do that. But one more thing I want to show you. There are some of all these shapes that has an extra, I call it adjustment handle. You know, regularly we can adjust shape manually with the adjustment handles on the sides, the edges on the sides. But then we also have the rotation, which is this one. Here we can rotate manually with our hand. Let me undo there. I don't need to do that. But then check out this yellow one. There's a yellow dot here. Let me zoom in as much as I can. Do. So if you have a yellow, they have a yellow dot here. Now what does that yellow dot do? That yellow dot is simply a transformation handle. Whichever shape you insert from your Microsoft Word that has the yellow dot, it means I can transform that shape into another shape entirely. So this one can actually be allowed to transform to a square and back to a plus. Now let's find another shape that has that. Let me go hunting. Let me see. Let's pick that arrow. Okay, I have an arrow. And go up. Not too far. I have an arrow. Let's just take one more. There's one slant. Yeah, this one and this one. So feel free to explore your shapes and find out what we are doing. So this one, the yellow dot is here. When I do that, it does this. It increases the slant position and it resets to a square. That's wonderful. And this one should end me up in a triangle, if I'm not wrong. Okay, yes, triangle and back. So feel free to explore your shapes and find out those shapes that has that transformation yellow dots apart from the basic adjustment handles. So now let's go back to what we are doing, and then so we've seen how to change the color and outline to shapes. So what about grouping shape? What does it mean to group shape? Now you see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just say 6 for now. Shapes on my Microsoft Word here that I've inserted. Now sometimes I may choose to reposition this shape, say to the bottom part here, and I can possibly just say let's just pick them one by one. That saves a lot of time. We will use a lot of time. But then when we say grouping shapes, there are different ways we can group shapes. To group items together, it means to hold them together so they behave as one, right? Now, what are the advantages of grouping shape? When you group shapes together, you can actually apply a particular formatting or a particular appearance setting to them, like color and outline style, outline thickness. Now that reminds me, we had a line here. What can we do with line? So let me just quickly just pop in some few ideas about line. Now if you come to the shape outline here, we have some different additions apart from the regular outline color that we can add. Let's say this width, outline width. This simply shows you the outline thickness. How do you have in mind that because it's an outline, you can also do that to any other shape? Don't forget that. You can literally bump up the thickness of the outline. What other thing can we do to an outline? There is dashes, which you can do to an outline. This is literally an outline style. And there is this feature here, which are arrows. So you can add some few settings to the arrows. So I think there's the one that has just one side too. Let's see. Okay, yes, there we go. Arrows. So always note that apart from that arrow is not on this one. Don't expect to have arrows on this. So just the width and dashes. And you can also explore this section, which is more outline colors. I wouldn't go that there because of time. So let's go back to the grouping part. So if I want to say hold all this together and move them together anytime I hold anyone, like right now they are all separate from each other, and I can grab them separately. So I can do something. I can hold down my shift key and selecting the ones I want to hold together, and then I can move them together, right? Successfully I've moved them together. But the very minute I go out of their selection, they are back separate. So that's where the grouping comes in. Let's go. This time there's another way I can select the objects. Let's see. Since there are no objects interfering with them, I'm using the select object. See, it's selected. You notice that blue selection here shows that this thing is active now. This tool is active. Select object tool. Now if that is active, I'll simply create it's out again. Yeah, it's still active. I'll simply create a rectangular shape around every object I wish to select, which is all this one. So looking at left and right, okay, and then bam, now they are all selected. So now what do I need? Back to my format, I need this particular tool, which is the group object. So this will join all objects together and they'll act as one. So you see, now like I said, what are the advantages of our grouping? Now if I choose to do something like this, okay, let me not tamper with this color. Let me do something. Let's copy and paste to duplicate that whole set. I'll do what I want to do to the new set. So let's go back to format. Now grouping will make them respond to the same setting for both fill and say outline. Let's see, red, both fill and outline. Whichever adjustment I do, both fill and outline, grouping will make them respond the same way. They will respond to the same setting. So that shows you that your grouping can help you hold some shapes together sometimes and do settings on them, especially when you don't want those shapes separated. You want them to move together. That's why you do the grouping. So now let's see, we have covered grouping. Then on grouping shapes, the same thing. If you should select a grouped shape, not the ones that are still okay. This one is group 2. Yeah, if you select a group shape, you can go back to that group, and then ungroup will be active. Unlike before, if you're having a single shape, you will not have that group active. If you select two shapes, you have the group active and the ungroup inactive. But you select a group shaped, you have the group, the ungroup active. So let's ungroup this set and say ungroup. So now they are back separate, and you can choose to select individual of them, and voila, ungroup is working. So we have seen how we can group and we can ungroup shape. Now we said we want to insert WordArt, but before then, remember this one that has content. I'm not ignoring that. Notice that the benefit of you having that is so you can also do the same adjustment you do to text. You can format the text, you can format the size, increase, you can add color and all that. And one beautiful thing where we can use this for, in the next video, we'll be creating a tags. We'll be setting a tags for this, and we'll see how we can do that. One beautiful thing is this: I can choose to remove both the fill and the outline of this, and you see it looks as though the text is just there, but literally the text is in a box. So when I click out, so you see, now the benefit of that is it can help me move that text independently, freely, anywhere in my page. So let me put this here, you know why. Okay, so now we'll come back there. So let's go to inserting WordArt. So what is WordArt? Now it's simply a word that can have the behavior that can accept editing, so to say. Now let's just say a word that's an art, but in simple terms, I always say is a word that behaves, is a text that behaves like a shape. Now that's the WordArt here. Insert WordArt. Let's click on the A. So you see your text here, right? Okay, should I take this guy down? Yeah, let me take it. Yeah, let's leave it here. There's enough space. So let's say your text here. So I want to type a text. Let's say, oh, this guy is responding to my bullet. So I'll simply go back to home and uncheck the bullet. Okay, your text here. So let me say this is a word art. Now I have this a word art. So why do they call it a word art? Remember, this is a text. From my keyboard I can highlight it. I can choose to, let me come here so I don't do it from home. If I do it from the home, there to work. But then let me see there's text field and there's shape field. Don't make mistake about this too. If I add shape field, it will be adding color into this, so to say, border area inside here, so as though there's a container. So don't make that mistake to do this. You see, it does this. So we're not doing that for now. Let's go no color. We're adding color to the text itself. So let's say text color. That's what we're adding. So text field. Remember, I say WordArt. Now the difference between this one is it can also accept an actual outline fill. Let's bump the outline thickness a little. Remember our width. So that's what makes a WordArt actually unique. Let me do something from home so you know it's actually a text. So it works like a text. You can increase the size like a text, but it accepts special formatting as a text. Now what other thing make a WordArt different is this text effect. Let me pick something that is very obvious. Let's say a shadow. Yeah, I'm not doing this. Okay, I've seen one. I think I'll try this for just one single text. I'll try for one single text. Just hold on. Let's use something different for now. Let's use a shadow first. Okay. I'll adjust it later. Okay, let's use this and I'm going to adjust it. Now, I have a shadow added to this. So let's see if we can work on that shadow a little bit. I should be able to work on that shadow a little bit. Let's go back to that shadow. Let's go to shadow options. Okay, so Now I have my shadow. The shadow is not that thick, that's why you cannot see it. So let me see if I can give it a different color entirely. What color will I give it to make it much more thick? Okay, it is black, and let's bump this up to 100. So shadow size, let's say the angle, let me bump the sky. Oh, sorry, I did something opposite here. Transparency, let's kill the transparency. Now the angle 219 is going to the left, so let me go. It's coming in. Come on, move here once. So let's say distance out of the text itself. Yeah, now we can see the shadow. So you can actually do a setting on that shadow, so always take note. So you see now my shadow is visible. Let's give the shadow a little color that's different from black. Yeah, there we go. So you see, so you can literally do an adjustment to that shadow. Remember, this is a WordArt. It has more features than a text, so that's why it's a text that can accept some few formatting and special formatting. So you can explore other effects like the other one. So I promise to add the one text, right? So let me just do that fast. We are running out of time already, so let's just see. It literally duplicated the text of that. Wait, no, I think that is 3D. Okay, so let's bring this guy close to this place. Okay, so let's just do that 3D rotation. Yes. So you see it's much more clearer now. So it's a 3D rotation. Let's see if we can have a little adjustment on that. Always take note of the added feature here, options, so that should help you do some few adjustments. Don't go too far, now let me see. I'm interested in seeing if there's any setting that makes that 3D a little. Let me see 3D formats. Still the same thing. Hold on, I'll find what I'm looking for. There's nothing like that. I think the limit of this is not much. There's not much. There's not much limit, so feel free to explore. What I'm looking for is something I've seen on CorelDRAW, so I just expect that. What am I expecting? So just explore what you have here. Explore what you have. I think the main idea of this is just the angle. So the idea is just a 3D direction. That's the idea of this. Well, remember it's a word that it has a lot of wonderful settings. So now, what is the similarity in WordArt and shape? Now the WordArt behaves literally like a shape. Let's see something. So because of these natural settings, they behave like a shape. They can be moved around. They can accept fill color and outline color, except they have additional features like the shadow and the 3D rotation here. So but then they behave like a shape. Now what is one thing that makes them have the same attitude? Using text wrapping and order. Now let's go down here. We have ungrouped these guys, right? So now let's do something. I'll be placing this. Now by order, I started with the circle, right? Let me just do the circle. I drew this. If I'm not mistaken, this one came last. It came last because I duplicated the square after the whole thing, so it came last. So that makes it on top. Okay, so I did this one last. Yes, I remember. So you see, by order, the last shape you draw will be on top, or the last shape you insert. Even if you paste it, it's still being inserted, so it becomes the last. Now that's an order, that's an arrangement from the start to the last, the first to the last. So if I go to format, let me remove this. If you come back here now, there is this bring forward and bring send backward. Now we use something there. Now you said we got this first, right? You see right now, if I bring this here, it cannot come to the front because I drew this first, I drew this second, and there's an order. This is behind this. So let's try something. Let's say I bring this to front. Now this literally jumps to the front of the whole set because I've changed its positioning. So the order has changed. It's no more the first, it's now the last. Now if I take this one is behind this because I drew this and I drew this next. If I take this one and I use bring forward, that does one step forward. So it's still behind the polygon, but it's in front of the green one. So it works on the reverse way too. If I say one step backward, that is send backward, it goes back to its previous position. Now let's do that with this one so you see it clearly. If I say send backward, it goes one step backward. If I say send backward, it goes one step backward. Hold on, did I click that? Yes. This guy is not responding. He's not nice at all. So let me send him to the back. He's not responding, so send to back. Please go to the back. You are being naughty. Okay, so he's at the back. So let's use somebody else that has not taken too much setting. So let's take this guy and let's send him backward. Yeah, so he's responding. So you see that? So that is the difference in order. You can actually go forward or backward one step, that is send backward or send forward, or send to back, which goes to the back of the entire, or send to front, which comes to the front of the entire set in question. Remember, when you say send to front, all the shapes in this particular document, it comes to the front. So that is order. Now what about text wrapping? I had a text here the other time. No, this is a text. Let's not use that one. So let's bring one of our shapes here. Let me borrow one of this. Let's borrow one of this. Let's copy and paste. So let's borrow somebody. You come up here, come up here. This is the only place I have text, right? So now this is text wrapping. So what's the advantage of text wrapping? Text wrapping is simply the behavior between shape around text. Now if we come to the format, you see the text wrapping we have here. This is wrap text, is literally in front of text. That's to tell you that this shape is in front of this text, right? You see it, it's covering the text. Now let's see a different text wrapping, the opposite of that one, behind text. Now you see the shape is behind the text. Now let me try to click out. So right now it's difficult for me to select this shape. If that happens, that's where you come to your home. You see home, then you come to select objects. Now this is active to select shapes. So you see I'm not having the cursor because that thing is active, except I choose to click out again. So you see I click out again and there I have the cursor. So let me go back to my select object, is still active. Then let me select my shape and bring the guy out. So you see the guy is behind text. Now let's try some other text wrapping. Let's explore more of this. Now let's pick a funny text wrapping. Now let's use this top and bottom. Now you see what's happening. You may not notice, but I will try to hover around the text. Now you see, if I hover around this inserting shapes, you see just a little bit down. Come on, respect me. You see, inserting shape jumps up. So the more I'm going down into the shapes, the shape are literally forcing themselves back to the top, because you know the text wrapping I picked is top and bottom. So remember, I said the text wrapping is the behavior of text around shape. It's not literally the shape, it's the behavior of the text around the shape. So the texts are literally getting out of its way, because the text wrapping I added this top and bottom. Now let's try something else. let's try this square. So you see square, the texts are forcing themselves away. You see, they cannot literally contain that part. Okay, good. This one can contain this part, so it's taking itself to the left hand side. So square. So feel free to explore the text wrapping. Now there's one text wrapping I love out of all of them. I'll show you why. Now that is the inline with text. Well, if you don't know how to use it, don't use it. Now let me just do this. I'll make this shape as small as possible. Let me zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm trying to achieve. Now let me try to remove the outline. No outline. Okay, so you see now this shape is now behaving like a text. Let me drag it somewhere here. So you see, so now it's behaving like a text. Doesn't mean it's going to allow me to highlight it, no, but I can just select it. But then it's on the same line with the text. If I drag it here, you see it's there. I drag it back, it's there. So in line with text, using the same line of the text. If you remember the time we were taking our line spacing and paragraph spacing, we said when text is containing one line, that's a line of text. So this shape is in line with this text. So now that is all we're going to take from this class for today. So today we really talked a lot about shapes and using shapes. Let's add one more thing to this. So you see here, I think you can use the order for this instead of using text wrapping. Let me see if text wrapping will work in front. So you see it doesn't work, so you have to use the order. So I can say bring to front, and that goes to front. So today we talked a lot. We talked about inserting shapes, which is under the insert, then shape. We also inserted WordArt. Those are the two things we inserted today. Now our format, just pay attention to this WordArt, please. Notice that it has its own ribbon too that I worked on, still drawing to format. So always pay attention to that. On previous Microsoft Word, it will be WordArt tools formats, but remember the additional ribbon. So when we started shape, we make some few changes on the shapes like sizes, color, outline thickness, outline style. Good. Then we grouped shape together. We group them together. We ungroup them. These ones were grouped before. We ungroup them. Then we inserted WordArt. We checked the similarity between the WordArt and shape. The fact that they can accept the fill colors and outline color, unlike our previous text. They can only accept a text color but no outline color. Then we check our text wrapping and order. Text wrapping, the behavior of shape, the behavior of text around shape. Then order, shapes around shape, changing their order, coming to front or going to back. So we have talked a lot. So practice, 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 and as you practice, you be able to use shape even more. Learn that, understand that you should check your measurement unit. We checked how to change them. You can take the video back to the part where we changed it. It's close to the beginning, so you can see how you can change your measurement unit. So that's all for this lesson. We really appreciate the fact that you all have joined us today. Remember, this is Introduction to Microsoft Word with Edward Jacob, working with shape and WordArt, creating, editing shapes and WordArt. So if you like our video, please share, like, and subscribe for more of this. And if you have any questions, you can do that from the comment section below.